Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to an all-new episode of Point of View. It's officially Friday, y'all. And this week has been insane. From Diddy's trial unfolding to Tory Lanez surviving a near-death experience in jail, and even Chris Brown being arrested and held in custody over in the UK. Oh, it's been hectic, a hectic week. But guess who we have back? We have Willie joining us today. Yeah, child. Okay. Coming up on today's show. Y'all know I gotta add something extra. Coming up on today's show, legendary Motown singer, songwriter, and musician Smokey Robinson is under criminal investigation for sexual assault allegations. And did you know that Black women have faced the most job losses among all in the job market? We're breaking it all down, so come on in and join the discussion. You're watching POV. All right. So let's get into it. Motown legend Smokey Robinson is now facing serious allegations. The 85-year-old icon is under criminal investigation by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department after a group of former housekeepers came forward with claims of sexual assault, false imprisonment, and gender violence. The four women, all former housekeepers, say the assaults date back as far as 2014, and they're seeking $50 million in damages. Robinson's attorney, however, is denying all the accusations. For someone with a legacy as iconic as Smokey's, this could truly be a game changer. At 85, I mean, what do y'all think is going on here?
I think he did it. You saw that picture? Do y'all see that picture? I think he did it.
This picture?
That one right there. Can we show the picture? That one right there.
Why?
I think he did it.
You think the picture said he did it?
Whatever they said he did it.
From the picture?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I want to say
He did it. It's okay.
It's really hard to weigh in on these situations, but I would imagine in the sinful, lustful, worldly world that we live in, I would imagine that maybe his four housekeepers wanted to sleep with him.
Oh. Nah, I didn't expect her to say
Now, I wouldn't say that they didn't want to, but hopefully they weren't forced to.
I doubt it.
I doubt it as well.
Well, one said they slept with him 7 times, and then after the 7th time, she was like, no, I can't do it anymore.
Exactly. Now you want $50
So maybe they
million.
were being paid.
It was
The
okay
problem
7
is,
times.
no, they were saying actually they were underpaid, so they probably said, whether it's good or not, he's probably not throwing us an extra tip come payday.
Right.
I'm not going to do this for free, sleeping with a millionaire, and I'm getting not even enough money to make the bed
Okay.
up.
Okay. I can see that.
And now he in trouble. Now they said, you know what?
$50 million is a lot
I
of
said that's
money.
what they owed.
Why can't y'all let people like Bill Cosby and them just rest? They almost just crossing over. And y'all just...
Well, but at the end of the day, I'm sure they probably feel like if he is about to cross over, we'll know how many days he's going to have.
He can't take the money with him.
Exactly. He can't take it with him. And if he's assaulted me,
He can't. You're
hey,
right about
I'm sure they
that.
have enough
something.
life left to live. They can do something good with the money.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh. Do you think some of these women are motivated by the Cassie case?
I think a lot of people are actually motivated by the Cassie case to come forward and tell their stories.
$20 million settlement.
It's that Me Too movement recircling again.
Which there's nothing wrong with.
It's nothing
right.
too, but the reason that was a problem for me is that everybody had a Me Too statement, and a lot of those Me Too things were not real. Well, you have to balance it.
No,
a lot of
do.
people do make false accusations, especially for people who have money. If it was just any John Brown walking down the street and you know they didn't have no money, it wouldn't be Me Too. It'll be like, Me Too.
No, I see
Really?
what you're trying to say, Willie, but at the end of the day, I feel like there are so many people that do not speak up. And unfortunately, especially in workforce situations, whether you're a housekeeper or an intern or whatever it is, there are so many cases, all jokes aside, where women are being sexually abused and mistreated and misused and all of the other things. Exactly.
Else.
And ultimately, I feel like so many women don't speak up in efforts to keep their pride or dignity or
embarrassment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like there's never could be enough money. Forget reparations at this point. Pay the people who've been sexually assaulted.
So that was 11 years ago. So I look at it like this. In cases like this, when things have happened so long ago, and I get it. It's hard for victims to come forward when things happen. But I just look at it like there's so many resources or things that talk like what triggers in our mind to wait, because it seems like all the durations are always about the same amount of time that it happens to be when people come forward. It's always 10, 11 years or 15 years, like that right spot, and then it's like, oh, by the way, this happened to me by someone who's getting ready to cross over.
I gotta come in real quick now.
Okay.
What I do want to say, Willie, is that being a man of the cloth, I think that you also should, think about the spiritual aspect of it, because sometimes it's just not your time to release that story. Legit, I was raped 17 years ago, and God released me a few months ago to tell a story that I have never told in 17 years. So the time doesn't matter. You could be 99 and he say today, baby, y'all gonna hear it today.
Right, but these people are not.
You don't know if they, you don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know, Willie.
You know by the fruit that they bear.
Okay.
And what is that? Bed making fruit? Dishwashing fruit? What kind of fruit they got?
I'm not talking about just them. I'm talking about some.
I'm so they don't have nothing to say because they poor.
I'm talking about some of the other people that we've seen the cases with, and these artists that we go like that. Some of that is just, I just feel like it's part of the drama that they create. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, yesterday we touched on the heartbreaking story of Adriana Smith, the 30-year-old Georgia woman who's been declared brain dead, but is being kept on life support because she was 21 weeks pregnant. Georgia's strict abortion laws are preventing her family from making a choice to let her go, as the fetus has its own legal rights under state law. Now, this obviously is a tough situation, and it raises a lot of questions about where do we draw the line between protecting unborn life and respecting a family's wishes? So we have Willie here, who's no stranger to point of view, as you all know, and is all about protecting the lives of the unborn. So where do you stand in this kind of situation?
Great question.
As a human.
As a human. So let's look at this. This is called the life bill or the fetal bill, which a lot of states have. And what it says is that, or the heartbeat bill, which it says that when a child has a heartbeat, that they become, it's called a personhood amendment. And so according to the state of Georgia, and which you're also trying to do in the state of Florida, is that once the heartbeat is there, that child then becomes a person. And because that child is a person, that person has to have options and opportunities too. So now this is what I would say. The family should be able to make a choice when it comes to the livelihood. I have not looked into it deep, whatever I say, but I would say this. I read some comments that people had said, and they said they believe, as being a mother themselves, that she would want her child to live. So we don't know what would be in the heart of the mother, even though the family is saying that. But at the end of the day, she's 21 weeks.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think it's a situation of morally for the family. Me and no one else can make that decision. It's a moral thing that the family has to decide on that.
But the law is interfering with the family.
The law is not interfering. The law was enacted and is being followed. It's not interfering because it's not like they're subjecting something that was not already in place. The law states that once there is a heartbeat, that the child cannot be aborted because it is now a person. And so what they're doing is they're saying this case, the doctors are saying that this is the law, but according to medical procedures, we are able to allow her to sustain enough to get her to at least 32 weeks to be able to allow the baby to come through so the baby can be born. Now, if the doctors come back, because it does state that medical procedures, if the medical professions come back and say this term cannot be done, we do not have the technology to be able to do it, then they can then abort the baby at that time.
Oh, then it's okay to abort the baby.
It's not about being okay. I'm stating law. We at the end of the day, it's a law. I can't.
It sounds like default. Doesn't sound like law. It sounds like by default they will still abort the baby if they don't have the technology to keep the baby alive.
Well, at the end of the day, that's what
they'll still kill the baby.
Well, the reason this amendment came was simply people stopped saying that babies are just a clump of cells. So it was basically saying once that heartbeat comes, that a child is now alive. So it has nothing really to do with this case. I know it's this particular case, but it's the overall law that says it stops saying it's a clump of cell. That clump of cell starts having a heartbeat, then it's a life, and we need to protect the life. That's
what about the doctor saying that the baby could have disabilities, the baby could be blind, the baby could be wheelchair bound for the rest of its life? What do you think
goes
about that?
back to, I believe, the responsibility of the family. I don't know what the family is saying. The family doesn't have, according to what this is saying, dealing with taking her off of the machines or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But if it gets to the medical part, when the medical part comes in and say we can no longer do anything, then that becomes part of the family. What does the family do?
Like you said, the default.
I think what scares me about the situation, and maybe I just don't know enough about it, but I feel like, as a doctor is saying, yes, this baby could be a miracle, but the baby could come out with different, deformities or abnormalities and things like that. But just thinking about, things that are shutting down in real time in the mom's body that are not working the way that they're supposed to work.
She's dead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're trying to,
still keep this baby.
Yeah, exactly. And so that just makes me feel like, just on a regular
baby's gonna
with
suffer.
a level with no understanding, you could only think about the effects that it could have on the quality of life of the
how
child.
are you giving
how
that
many
baby
times
the
have
right
they successfully
nutrients?
done this?
Right, exactly.
But
Exactly.
science does have been able to successfully have a baby outside the womb develop.
But this baby is inside.
Exactly.
Right. So what I'm saying, if they can do it outside of the womb, I'm pretty sure that there is ways to make sure the baby has.
To me,
think so.
I feel
Not
like
inside of a dead body.
I am pro-life. I am pro-life, but I am
Yes.
also pro-choice, but I am pro-life. But at the same time, I feel like this is where humanity goes wrong. When we try to, I feel like it's the God complex, like let God do what God is doing. Like all these machines and Lord be with us.
Yeah. All right. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're getting into Girlfriend's Guide, and we'll be discussing a surprising statistic. Black women have faced the most job losses amongst all groups in the job market. Plus, unpopular opinion. You don't want to miss this. You're watching POV.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's Friday and I got a question. So, what would you do if in your life you suddenly became a billionaire?
If I suddenly became a billionaire, the first thing that I would do is go and buy some significant
legs.
land.
Oh.
I'm gonna get
Okay.
me some land that has a beach on it where I can eat my own crab legs.
No, that's right.
I
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, the crab
It was
legs
gonna be there somewhere.
Yes, okay. But I would get some land and I would build some houses for myself and my family, and we
Yes.
would go on living the rest of our days doing whatever we doing now.
I love that.
Yeah.
With a
I
little
feel the
more
same
money.
way. I would absolutely go buy some land and invest in everything that I can.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have to sit down and make a plan. I mean, the first thing I would think, as you would say, buy the land, buy the home, make a compound so everybody can live there together. But I'd have to really sit down and put some more thought into it because I want to make it last.
I was saying,
Likewise.
better act regular.
Right.
Okay, act like you don't got it.
Likewise, and back to my organization. That's why I would fund that, making sure it's fully funded.
Okay. And what's your organization?
House of Timothy.
House of Timothy.
I love that name.
Okay.
Very powerful.
Okay, well, if you guys suddenly became a billionaire, drop down in our comments and let us know what you would do, what the first thing you would do. And yeah, we're going to get back to the show.
Welcome back. It's time to dive into all things love, life, relationship, careers, and everything in between. If it matters to women, you better believe we're discussing it right here. So let's get into Girlfriend's Guide. According to a recent report, Black women experienced the largest job losses among all in the job market in April, losing 106,000 jobs. That's a big hit, with their unemployment rate jumping from 5.1% to 6.1% in just 1 month. Experts are saying this has a lot to do with things like anti-DEI policies, federal job cuts, and ongoing hiring discrimination. This is why so many Black women are turning to entrepreneurship to regain control over their careers. So what do y'all think? Let's talk about it.
I actually have a very close family member of mine who has been in management at the company that she's been working at for, I want to say 13 years now. And she rocks out. I mean, she's amazing. Sometimes I'll hear her, managing her team and things like that. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I've always said, if she can take this and create her own thing, you know what I'm saying? Not do it for their company. Like, oh my God, I mean, she gets numbers.
Yeah.
And so, it was interesting too, because I've been having that thought about, her and her job a lot more lately. And so, God has blessed me, one, to create a business opportunity that I'm, pulling her in on, where she's able to use some of those skills. And so, we're growing that in real time. But she also was almost affected by this, 1%, I mean, major increase.
Wow.
Well, not 1%, but that was a whole point, whatever it was, exactly. And so it was really scary kind of watching how that was playing out.
Yeah.
And so, she was under a lot of stress because her job was telling her, hey, if you don't relocate to this podunk town in the middle of nowhere, literally, leaving from the big city life that she's in, then, in a couple of days you won't have a job. And so she was praying about it and trusting God about it. And then they called her yesterday and told her, hey, we're going to give you the area that you're already in. And when I tell y'all, I was at home, I almost cut the carpet up off that floor, baby. I was, thank you, Jesus. Listen, what I will say is all of the changes that are happening, if God be for you, who can be against you? But I mean, on another note, for sure, if you have the opportunity, if you have a dream that you've been sleeping on, now is the time, before you get cut, if possible, to invest in the dream that God has placed inside of you, baby, because these jobs don't care nothing about you. Create your own.
Anti-DEI policies and hiring discrimination. Are we really moving backwards in time in the workplace? There's no equality.
So what I would say is, I've said this several times before.
We don't need DEI. We don't need DEI. That's what you gonna say?
We don't need DEI. I believe that this is a prime example because it forces us to realize that we can sustain for ourselves. And I can tell you personally, it has been tough. And I tell, like Natalia said, I have the trust in the Lord. But it's been since 2015 that I've actually checked into a clock, because in 2015 I was laying there on the bed, and I said, Lord, what do you want me to do? And he said, I want to use your life as an example of what it is to trust me for everything.
Jesus.
And I would say that no matter how hard it gets, maybe looking close to the bills, lights cutting off, whatever, you have to trust and obey God. And what we have done is we have created a system in the United States where we have fallen into needing to have, someone to tell us when to come to work, when not to come to work. But when we look at, all of us have something in our hand. In Ecclesiastes, it says that seven gifts or investments, even 8.
Oh, yes, that's the one.
So we have things in our hand as people of color, especially. We will work to the ground. We'll climb trees, get bananas, cook the bananas, take care of the children, do all those things, and still be able to sustain our mind. So I think that to tell this to the women out there, this is just, sometimes we have to be pushed into our destiny, and it's uncomfortable, but our exodus is always right around the corner.
Listen to Willie coming on here making
for the
sense.
ones in the back.
It took months, honey, months. Wow. Entrepreneurship is becoming like the lifeline for many Black women. But is it fair that they have to create their own? We have to create our own opportunities because the traditional job market is failing.
Well, thank God, in my opinion. I know that so many depend on it, but thank God that it is failing, because it was a system that was meant to keep us in bondage anyway. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, they say, hey, this is what you can make for the year, and this is where you are. So no matter what goals happen, no matter if, God forbid, your child needs a life-altering, surgery or anything, or anything that's not in your budget, there's nothing that you can do about it. And so I feel like at the end of the day, we need to break the bank and create our own.
But do you think this has been going on anyway, or do you think we're being gaslit? Like, oh, the Black women, they're having such a hard time in the job market. This has always been the case, though. So it's not
it
like,
causes fear. That's one thing.
That's what I feel is
people
happening.
diminish off of fear.
Yeah.
And so if you keep telling a person something over time, you start believing it. So you'll start looking around and say, oh my God, my everything is falling. I'm crumbling.
Yeah.
And you look at it and be like, wait a minute. It ain't what is being shown to us. And I think that we have to turn the TV off. They not like us. They not like us.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Well, Willie's singing a different tune these days.
I know. is going on?
Should we get used to it?
Down in
Please
that
let us
coffee shop
know.
too much.
Right. What? Oh my gosh. Well, do y'all think that, black women losing jobs at this scale? But again, this is not something that's new. 160,000 jobs in like 1 month. 106,000 jobs in 1 month, not new.
I think I agree with Willie, like just a little bit for the first time ever. But I do feel like if we are like saying that we, like we can do it on our own and we can, like be supportive like of small black businesses and things like that, we need to actually do that. Like if we want to be out here on our own and not have to depend on these other companies or these like big name companies who are lowballing us anyway, then we actually have to support each other and really support each other. Like not support each other when it's convenient.
Right.
I think somebody, I just want to say this real quick.
Real quick.
I think somebody should come up with some type of system. I don't know if y'all going to be the viewers at home or one of us at the table. I don't know. But somebody should come up with something that kind of creates a standard for black business. Because I feel like as so many of us go into entrepreneurship, maybe like a class or online course or ebook or something where it's kind of like a blueprint of what should be happening in black business. Not just getting an LLC, an EIN, you set up shop tomorrow, but being able to have those same business standards that are used on these white businesses.
You are doing it right now.
Yep.
Oh, somebody else.
All right, y'all. That is a great idea. Y'all, it's time for our final segment of the day. Let's get into unpopular opinion. Let's be honest, when it comes to police encounters with people of color, things don't always go the way they should. We came across this viral video of a black man confronting police officers as they arrested a 10-year-old black boy apparently for stealing a bag of chips. Let's take a look.
What are y'all doing? What is y'all doing?
Guess. Take a guess what I'm doing.
Hey, he like a baby to me. Why you?
Guess what I'm doing.
I don't know what you doing. I just see you snatch him up off the.
No.
So what? So what's going on then?
You're stealing stuff. If you break into your house to steal something.
Nah, man. What you saying? A bag of chips? So y'all treat me like a whole cold blood killer?
Keep walking, dude. You don't even know what you're
Keep
talking
walking.
about.
I do. I know what I just came up and see. I know the fuck I just came up and.
Wow. I don't like it. What is going on out here?
Well, I'm glad that we have black people standing up. This
too.
happens in our community quite often. And what happens with stuff like this, and I said this before, that again, we need strong black men that instead of being on the other side of it, prison, other places, ones that are on this side of it, they call it the free world, we have to start showing up to our communities. A lot of these black boys especially, they don't have examples, whether it's an uncle, whether it's a cousin, someone that can say, look, man, if you need something. I used to have to tell my brother all the time, he had klepto. You had no reason to steal.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to say, listen, my mama works way too hard. If you need something, I'll give you 50 cents to go down and get chips. And sometimes these kids don't know. They're so used to having like a bunch of siblings and everybody got to share. So that, man, I want my own chips. So they do things because they want to have their own.
Yeah.
And they have to be taught along the way. And so we have a lot of officers that are bullied. They need to go through a lot of training. I've experienced it myself. 10 police officers pulled us over without there for mistaken identity. We all in the middle of all out there getting on our knees, shirts up, walking backwards, everybody recording, and made to look like criminals for mistaken identity. And then I pulled over at Walmart one time and paid $100 for something, and it was this, I forgot the pepper, and they come racing up over a pepper. And so this is the world that we're living in. I say for black men that we have to do better by all of our young people, girls or boys. But I believe that in today's society, we're going to see a lot more of this taking place because what we have is we have a culture that appeals to it being okay to target a certain demographics of people when we don't have the standard in our own community to stand up.
Wow.
I think that's interesting, Willie. I like that you said that.
Yeah.
I remember a conversation that we had just maybe a week or two ago, maybe 2 weeks, and you were
What
saying something to the effect about why do we feel like, or do we really feel like we could walk outside of our door and possibly get shot?
But
And
we-
you were so appalled and you couldn't
but
believe
we're
that
not
we
in
had
that
that current
place.
fear. But what you're saying is very close to that place.
No.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, why are we going to walk outside? I don't have a fear of going outside, but I do have a fear
Of being in the car with a few other black people. I mean, it sounds the same to me.
No, but what I'm saying is I know my standard and I know what I believe and stand for, but I don't have a fear. So I believe when you have a fear, that's what they feed off of. So when I walk out door, I don't have a fear that they're gonna do something to me because I know who I am and I know my rights and the law. Now whether I get
that still happened to you.
Yeah,
it did, but that did not stop me from going outside and doing what I do every single day, is what I'm saying. It shouldn't stop us and get us in a place of anger and bitterness. It should make us work harder to realize it is happening.
And I think maybe fear was the wrong word. I think maybe it's a little concern. We have a concern that this could happen to us.
Yeah.
Right, that's what the difference is, because fear is like,
I like
can't go
concern better,
outside.
Tally. I like concern.
Concern. Wow, y'all. Well, this is what's happening out there in them streets. Oh, my goodness. I didn't like it one bit. But that's a wrap for today's show. But before we sign off, we'll leave you with the quote of the day. I am deliberate and afraid of nothing, by Audre Lorde. Thanks for hanging out with us. You have been watching POV only on AFROTV. Oh, the camera's over here. See y'all tomorrow. Monday.